Heya folks, Old Hillsbrad is in the Caverns of Time, a place we'll have to come back to a bunch of times in TBC for various reasons, but for now the reason is to level up, because it's a good instance for experience points. So, let's go. Enjoy! I know I might sound a little bit sour about spamming dungeons all the time on official TBC, but I did this to myself, to be honest. Plenty of my guildies were out there questing, they did a fine job on their own out there, but I decided that I wanted to do as little quests as possible on the way up to 70 because I want to do them at 70 to take my time and enjoy them. And also there's the added bonus of making some gold back. I don't need the gold because I've got my funds for epic flying about sorted, and I've also got a farming plan for when I hit 70. But it is a nice bonus to saving the quests until the last minute. Of course, we had to do some quests on the way up, like the quest to get into this instance. We're actually not allowed into the Caverns of Time dungeons until after we take a tour of the Caverns of Time. It's a bit much tell, not show, similar to the City of Light quest in Shatra, but that's a nitpick, to be honest. This is a really cool dungeon with a great theme, and they take advantage of the setting in interesting ways, which we'll see later. We haven't started just yet. This is a big open world sort of dungeon. We're in Hillsbrad Foothills, except inside an instance, and therefore there are some interesting elites around. This guy is a quest mob, which my group mates need to kill, and which I am helping out with. But after we're done here, we can head on back to the core of this dungeon, the area where most of the stuff happens, and that would be Stromgarde, where Thrall is being held. You may know him better as Green Jesus. He was around during Cataclysm. We did some stuff with him, and the Dragon Soul, and he fired some heckin' laser beams, and it was great. Or actually, no, that wasn't really great. But I'm getting sidetracked yet again, and we are getting started here, so let's stay focused. This mob is by herself at the moment, but there should be a patrol that occasionally walks closer to the gate there to join her if she happens to be around. But that one always stays there. She's watching vigilantly for intruders like us. And if you haven't noticed, by the way, we are a human hunter now, because we are in disguise. We are undercover back here in the past. So on the note of the theme of this dungeon, it is a time travel dungeon, where we go back in time, and it turns out that there's an evil bronze dragonflight offshoot that is attempting to alter events in the past. And why exactly do we want the Horde to be formed, and why do we want to make sure that Thrall makes it? Well, if the Horde isn't formed, then the Burning Legion just kind of walks all over Azeroth, because we're not strong enough to fight them off. So, as good an idea as it might seem, because there's a lot of strife that happens between the Horde and Alliance, it is entirely plausible that trying to prevent things from happening as they did would result in even more hardship, and blood and guts and other nasty bits. By the way, we've jumped down here because, well, we can't just walk in and break Thrall out of prison. That would be incredibly perilous. Instead, we have to cause a distraction. We have to, well, besides killing some innocent people in the past, which is certainly not good, and I think I have some idea of how that's resolved in the future, but probably not entirely. Anyway, we're down here to set some fires and cause that distraction so that we can walk on up into Durnholde, or Stromgarde. No, it was Stromgarde was in the Arathi Highlands. This is Durnholde. Excuse me. Anyway, we can break Thrall out after we cause this distraction, and putting the introductory tell instead of showing quests that starts the Caverns of Time aside, this dungeon is really well designed, really cool. Not only do we get to partake in an important part of Warcraft history, which was not explored in Warcraft 3, and is therefore new, at least to most folks who are familiar with this series, but it also features an escort in the middle of a dungeon, and because it's a time travel themed dungeon, it is entirely plausible that we can fail that escort and and revert back in the event of that failure. Regarding the combat that's going on right now, we have certainly increased in confidence, if not in precision with our technique. Although that has developed somewhat too. I've spotted a patrol to the left that I expect to come around our way and attack us. So I've placed a trap preemptively, and I've got my Wyvern Sting off cooldown. It is ready to intercept something. That target is ranged, so the doggo trips the trap. I hit the other mob, the ranged mob, with the Wyvern, and we can help finish these guys off so that our group is free to attend our other visitors on the left, behind us. Which I will point out to them by breaking them out of the crowd control and inviting them to come on over closer to my friends, so that they may be noticed and received and welcomed in the warmest possible way, with our Warlock's Incinerate and other fiery spells like my Dragonhawk's Fire Breath. And I am still enjoying the Dragonhawk meme. It is a very fun meme. Even if it's a suboptimal pet, it is much too fun to just see it flapping around, breathing its fire everywhere, and being a general nuisance to all of the enemies in the general vicinity of its face. So yes, my confidence is at an all-time high as of this dungeon with what it is that I'm doing. Even though my technique is not perfected yet, in fact it's far from perfected, I'm still moving around with greater certainty and choosing to use my burst cooldowns on a more regular basis, which I neglected to do in prior dungeons, but which I am doing very much here, like the Band of the Stormguard that I just popped. There should be enough time to make good use of it during this pull, but the rest of it. Some of them are low, but I suppose this lag spike doesn't help us do any damage. What an inconvenient timing this lag spike has. I've been getting those on occasion, but it's mostly okay in dungeons. Shatra though, goodness gracious, that open world area is so populous, it slows everything down to a crawl. And I love to see it, because what that means is it means the server is populated, and that's always what we want to see. When there's a lot of life on the server, it means there's a lot more fun to be had, usually. Herod happens to be a bit dangerous for Alliance, and indeed, if you have been keeping up with the news, all of the Alliance have actually transferred off the server, and even I am on Benediction now, under my old name in fact, Rosiah. But it's not that I wanted to move. In fact, no one in my guild really wanted to. But you see, it first started with a few guilds going, hey, we don't like it here, we're going to transfer off. And the server's dead, you guys. WoW is dead. We need to abandon ship. Everyone abandon ship. Ah! So they left. And then, even though there were still around 35 or so Alliance guilds on the server, as opposed to 100 Horde, enough to keep an economy going, enough to do some stuff. All those other guilds were like, WoW is dying and we need to leave. We need to leave for another server, So they also left for Benediction, and then my guild was left with like 5 other guilds on the server, which is not enough to keep an economy up. It's not enough to fund our raiding efforts, especially with so many Horde out in the open world. So what could we do? We took a poll and everyone decided, hey, we don't really have a choice, let's go too. By the way, this is the first boss. We are up to him already, and doesn't time fly when you're having fun? He does have a whirlwind, but right now we're going into our ranged burst rotation as best we can. Here he goes whirlwinding, and I'm going to fire a few more shots before I swap to my Ravager and attempt for the spinny, because if he's spinny, then I also have to spinny, just as soon as I'm done reeing and also being caught in this frightening shout, which was very startling and sent me up the stairs for 8 seconds. Don't you ever just get startled and decide to run up the stairs? Yeah, me too. We popped deterrents so that we take as little damage from the whirlwind as possible, while attempting to get our spinny, and there is no spinny for us today. No matter how much I no matter how much I spam my rank 1 wing clip, there is no spinny. Don't worry, we'll come back later and see if we can get a spinny. But for now, we ought to head into the keep, at last. There are 4 mobs here, and obviously we've only been fighting less than 4 up to this point, obviously, so I'm going to sleep 1, I've trapped another, and everything is broken, and oh dear, it seems like it's going to be a wipe. Or is it? Because we have found this here kite spot, and actually no, I really didn't need to crowd control anything here at all. My group is clearly not interested, so I should confer to their needs. as opposed to impulsively attempting to pull stuff off the tank, as I did. Now, we did have quite a lot of fun in the last episode with our survival CC, but there is a time and a place, and it's called college. Or another group that is less inclined towards AoE and multi-dotting and other stuff like that than this one. I mean, with 2 locks and a hunter, it's hardly an issue to be holding on to stuff, because that stuff's not going to be up for too long. It's going to go over real quick. As you can see, everything is simply melting, including us, since we're taking a few hits here. We got some aggro, but we'll try not to do that from now on. I'll try to quell my impulsiveness as we move into this close quarters area. Now, close quarters probably would be an issue for us hunters if it were still vanilla, but this is the Burning Crusade, and we can walk right up to things without being dead zoned by them now. Well, of course, that is if it's not evading like this one is here. We all need to stack up on this one because it's simply going to stay up there forever if we don't stack on it. In this circumstance, I'm forced into melee, but that's hardly the end of the world with our warlock friends launching tons of incinerates and fireness at this enemy. Anyway, we've almost reached Thrall by now, and there's another cool part to this instance that is underappreciated, I think. This instance serves as the introduction to the infinite dragonflight, and considering that we had to go through a tour of the Caverns of Time, and then this is the only dungeon that is unlocked at that point when that tour is completed, this is the first time where we're supposed to see this mysterious new dragonflight interfering in the past. But we haven't seen any dragons thus far, and that's because, well, we can guess. That NPC that we killed a moment ago remarked before we pulled them that one of their leaders was acting strange recently, and we are disguised as humans by the Bronze Dragonflight. There's some implication here that the Bronze Dragonflight is able to disguise itself or others for the purposes of infiltration and other spy-y stuff like that. So it's foreshadowing. It's all foreshadowing what we're about to see in this dungeon. Well, what we're not about to see just yet, but what we will see when we have forced the enemy out of hiding. At the moment, we are fighting a proxy battle between the Bronze Dragonflight and the Infinite Dragonflight. We are some mortal interlopers in this whole ordeal. Well, not really interlopers. We are permitted to fight on behalf of the Bronze Dragonflight. And just as we are lending our aid, or perhaps being manipulated by the Bronze Dragonflight, because who knows what their motives really are. I mean, who knows if this is the only way to preserve the world, to save it, to ensure that things unfold properly. That's the thing. They want the timeline to unfold properly, and they claim that disaster will strike if it suffers some form of digression. The Infinite Dragonflight may very well have a point where they say, hey, we're trying to stop the Horde from forming, and maybe some other stuff happens that prevents the destruction of the world. Okay, actually the Infinite Dragonflight do seem kind of evil. But the point is, we don't really know what the hell the Bronze Dragonflight is up to, and we don't really know much about the Infinites either. They say that they want to protect the world, and presumably they have the same exact time powers as the Bronze Dragonflight. So are we being manipulated, or are we indeed on the right side of history? It's probably clear-cut, but I do enjoy considering the possibilities. So anyway, the Infinite Dragonflight, the implication is that they are manipulating the humans of the past, and we are not really sure which humans are humans and which humans are dragons. It's just like the lizard people in real life. Actually, I guess not. We pretty much know for a fact that Zuckerberg is a lizard person. No ambiguity there. And if you doubt me, then you've been taking too much medication. Anyway, we've started this escort here, and it's pretty intense. You know, when I think of past expansions like the Burning Crusade and all that, I don't think of pulling a million things at once in a dungeon. But I guess that's more a sentiment reserved for heroic difficulty. On this difficulty, it's fairly simple to blaze through multiple packs of 4 mobs each, if not also kind of intense. We are out of mana, so I'm going to sit right here and have a drink for a moment before we go and continue on here. So I guess this escort is an excuse to give this dungeon some kind of pace, to give us a time limit, and it is certainly very different from the more paced pulls of traditional dungeons, where, say, in the Ramparts we are slowly moving along at our own pace. No, Thrall is just going to run into everything, and unlike every other escort NPC in the game, he likes to run, indeed. And we just have to deal with it. Fortunately, we do have a bit of a break coming up, because once these guys are dead, Thrall's going to walk up ahead, giving us time to drink, while some RP plays out. He's going to be talking to the bosses here. We have manned up in the meantime, so I'm going to set up a trap because we have had ample time to recover completely. There is no sense in not using our CC here, while these targets can't be touched. But surely our warlocks will like to multi-dot. There goes the immolate, and that's fine. You know, we only stalled them a moment, in case maybe it helped our tank or something. And we did exercise some CC at the beginning of this escort on the very first 4-mob pull, because we could, and that worked out. Not so much like this, because this guy is stuck to me like glue. And I do not want to feign death because I've got rapid fire up. Please leave me alone. I just want to shoot the boss and use my Jomkabar to the best that I can. And I guess we get some good use out of it. Pity we had something suck to us, but it does not matter. The boss is by himself now, and although we have no interrupts for his holy light, what we do have is plenty of fire and arrows and stuff to stick in his body to make him fall over, and possibly melt, among other things. If you experience side effects from magic, please consult your doctor today. Do not hesitate. Much like Thrall here, he's not hesitating at all as he duplicates the horse with his shamanistic duplication powers and mounts up to ride down the road at an incredibly slow pace now. But I suppose he has to be slow because some people might not have their fast mounts yet. These guards just don't really care about him. We're just gonna move on, and, or we're not. Yeah, apparently Thrall takes offense to their poor work ethic, and decides to attack them anyway. I don't blame him. I am not appreciative of low effort. I am appreciative of memes though, so the Dragonhawk is not low effort, even if I do bring it to a raid. It is simply different. At least that's my cover story. Don't tell anyone. These poor guys were just minding their own business, and they were about to let Thrall go like, oh, not my problem. Orc riding on the road? Nope. You have forced my hand indeed. Thrall is the antagonist here. But isn't that always the case with Horde? Anyway, I guess I should explain why exactly we've come out here to Tarren Mill. Thrall could not simply mind his own business and be on his way. I don't know why I'm moving over here. Let's go back over there. Thrall could not mind his own business because there was a human in the past who was supposed to set him free. And presumably this is where the Infinite Dragonflight stepped in. They didn't go in this big, flashy fashion and supplement the guards at Durnholde, no. What they did was remove a crucial element from the equation, which prevented Thrall from going free on his own. That's where we step in, and now Thrall wants to see his human friend, who would have stepped in to aid him, if not for the Infinite Dragonflight. He wants to see her set free. Thus, we have rode out to Tarren Mill to beat up some more innocent humans, presumably, and generally cause mischief. Which honestly is no different from present Hillsbrad. I mean, you guys saw back in, what was it, episode 39? The sheer chaos that unfolded at Tarren Mill versus South Shore. The town has a rich history of combat, just of a different caliber than what we're experiencing right now. I think this is an evade spot, so I'm going to hop down from that barrel. I don't think that mob healed, so we're good. And the mob dies. And we can move on past this peasant, who also does not care that Thrall is passing by. And I can lay a trap outside this chapel, where Thrall will walk in, and spontaneously some NPCs will spawn outside. Those pesky guards, man, they spawn out of nowhere. If you've ever played a rogue in an enemy faction city, you know that those guards, well, the scariest thing is one of those innocent NPCs that yells, "Guards, help! Guards, help!" Because the guards by themselves are not that big a problem. But when one of those stupid NPCs winds up spawning thousands of them, well, that's when you're gonna wipe. And the worst part is when you can't even kill them because they're a civilian and it would be a dishonorable kill. But they can call the guards on you. I'm getting sidetracked again. We are just about finished with this pack of 4. It was 4, and now there's only 1. And now there's 0. We must follow Thrall into this house, or into this inn, where the innkeeper does not seem terribly concerned that one of her patrons is being kept upstairs. I probably should have dropped an explosive trap instead of memeing around with this. I am memeing, I'm not actually sincere about attempting to control these things. It is fun to see them boot to sleep. That never gets old, to me. This is a bit more close quarters than I would prefer. Even if the dead zone is no longer a problem, the point of view certainly is. Makes it difficult to see what's casting and who to shoot. It also makes it difficult to put some distance between us, but it's not too bad. The hitboxes are rather small in TBC, in general. So we've cleared this part of the escort, and Thrall is going to approach his friend, who is surrounded by a mysterious ball of dark magic. And the mighty dark ball of darkness is too powerful for us to handle. But not to fret. It is being controlled, it is being commanded by a mysterious voice that calls to us from the outside. And here is what was being foreshadowed. This is what we were all leading up to. This awesome looking black and white, darkly colored dragon of death and time magic. And the implications are confirmed in the next moments as his lackeys come out of hiding to confront us with their full power. Which will be no problem for us, because we are a group of merry human friends, and a tree over there. Also, I suppose a dwarf does not need to be transformed into a human, but as a night elf, well, there are no night elves in Old Hillsbrad, so I don't really have a choice but to be human for this dungeon run. Here's a caster over there, and I've interrupted it with a scatter shot, and I don't particularly care to interrupt the second one with my wyvern sting. I've got a target that's chasing me, or actually it's chasing the warlock nearby me. But that's fine, because it's dead, and now we can open up on this other target, which is also now on me. But now it's not, so I can continue using quick shots. It's a dance of aggro, it's a rhythm. And there are yet more targets coming on our left to flank us by appearing out of nowhere. Honestly, I think that probably could have used some kind of teleportation animation or something, but it's TBC, I'm not faulting anything. I'm only nitpicking. I actually do like this dungeon, even though it's, well, let's just say I don't really appreciate the company of chronomancers. You can't really hide anything from them, so they make me rather uneasy. Fortunately, these ones we can kill, so we'll go ahead and do that. And on the right, once again, there will be 4 enemies, 3 plus 1. Third verse, same as the first, but plus a friend. There's that caster in the back once again. And it seems that our tank is running after it. So I don't particularly care to use my wyvern sting. It is interrupted, so it's going to come into melee on us. And now would be a great time to drop an explosive trap. You know, if I were a clever hunter, but remember, I said I was feeling confident as of this run, not smart. It took me some time, but I finally dropped one, and we've set up for multi-shots into melee, which has given us some aggro, but we're surviving through it, through the damage that is being dealt to us. We cannot say the same about our warlock, or one of our warlocks, who is lying dead on the ground. Our druid may be able to battle res him, but it appears to be on cooldown for I'm not sure how long. We'll ask if our warlock friend needs this dungeon, and if need be, we can wait it out, assuming these jumpers do not work. And they did not, unfortunately for our warlock friend. And unfortunately for us too, if we wind up needing to wait. For now, no one has said anything, so we'll continue DPSing as normal, using our new kill command, as we do on occasion. And kill command actually makes my Dragonhawk hit for something, even though it would also make a Ravager hit for something. It at least adds something to my meme pet. I have also taken aggro again, and my deterrence has fallen off, so I honestly should use my Feign Death. But I'm focused more on the details of our dead warlock friend, and I actually stopped my DPS here, except for leaving Guinevere on the boss. I stop it momentarily. It seems it'll be up in due time, in an appropriate time, when the boss is just about dead. I intend to get him close to death before stopping once again. And that was kind of scary. Our druid got very low himself as well, but he did survive, and he is able to get his rebirth off. Just in time for the warlock to res, and the boss to be killed. Now that's what I call good timing. So it seems it's about time to close out this episode. Here's some bonus footage too. Not a lot of action commentary in this one, but certainly a lot of action. I'm easily sidetracked when there's some interesting design decision or story, or especially if those are connected somehow like they are here, so you'll have to pardon my rambling. We'll get into some more action commentary next time in the Sethic Halls, because as neat as the Arakawa are, and there is a lot of lore behind them, that's something to see more of whenever it is we get around to questing in Terakar Forest. Like I said earlier, I would like to take my time with questing. I did have to rush to 70, but now that I'm attending raids and fulfilling my obligations to my guild, I could go back. It would be a good opportunity to check out some old school blizzard riding, and I could clear stuff quickly at max level. The Sethic Halls will be the last leveling episode, because even though I dinged 70 in the Steam Vaults, I have something special planned for checking out that place. If you're in the Ravager Den, the new one at least, then you're sure to know exactly what I have in mind. But that's then, and this is now. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.